Hey, welcome everybody. This is the Options Moneymaker Q&A session for July 1st, 2020. I'm Mark Dannenberg. I'm the founder and CEO of Options Moneymaker. I have with me this evening two of our team members, Aaron Rumley and Michael Kastner. And I also have joining us this evening Craig from New Cycle Trading and Analytics. Craig heads up programming and development for New Cycle Trading and Analytics and is a key collaborative partner with us here at Options Moneymaker in building the technical tools that we talk about every single day in our live trading room. So welcome guys, glad to have you guys here.
Hey Mark, thanks.
That's Craig.
Good evening, Mark.
Thank you.
And then Aaron and Michael. All right, folks, we're going to get into it here. For those of you who may not have been to one of our Q&As before, we have a very, very simple philosophy here at Options Moneymaker. We want to help you learn to trade so that you can trade to earn. So our whole premise is we want to provide as much information, knowledge, and resource that we can so that you can actually fulfill your own personal goals of trading. We consider trading to be similar to owning a small business. You have to make some investments in the tools that you use to conduct your business, but ultimately trading can be a very, very simple business to get into, but don't ever discount the need for the tools and the need for the education. So we're here to respond to questions that you may have about any of our programs, any type of trading that you're interested in. And as long as it's something that we include in our curriculums, we're happy to respond to that. So it includes our profit flow analytics charts for identifying trends. That's what we use every day in our live trading room, and that's what Craig from New Cycle Trading and Analytics and his team have put together, collaborating with Aaron and Michael and I in doing so. We have a master class that we created here specifically around what's called the Cycle Finder Plus on the Profit Flow Analytics charts. If you have questions about the live trading room, we do have a live trading room that we conduct for real-time trading and support and responding to questions and just expanding on your education. The live trading room is a real-time trading environment where we can monitor signals, we can help traders identify signals and support them in the trading that they're doing. Profit Builder Plus is all about options education. It's a multi-part education program that helps traders learn from the very beginning, if they don't know anything about options, all the way through more advanced options and spreads. We also offer a futures trading education program so that you can learn the risks and reward of futures and how to trade those properly. And we also offer a limited amount of one-on-one coaching for those traders who feel like they'd like to participate in an intensive immersion in learning how to trade. There's a forum on New Cycle Trading that we invite traders to participate in. It's a chat forum where you can post questions, post comments, post thoughts with other traders, and you can reach that at traders.newcycletrading.com. Now, before we get into the Q&A, so if you have questions or thinking about questions, feel free to put them in the chat window and we will focus on those just after I give you a few key points of information overviews. The daily crosses, and Aaron can chime in here because Aaron tracks and posts the daily crosses every day in the live trading room, is basically a daily cross refers to one of our technical indicators that on a daily chart we recognize that there's a buy or a sell indication from the Cycle Finder Plus indicator. And we are looking at a short list of our preferred watch list, and we're looking for those crosses on a daily basis on our watch list. And when they happen, Aaron announces them in the live trading room, and we track those trades for their overall performance. So Aaron, what have you seen here since February 24th we started tracking these.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been very consistent profits. We have our profit sweet spot matrix to tell us when to exit the position on each stock based on what we have calculated an 80% win rate. And so what it does is gives us the exact number that the stock or index needs to move, just the movement, the actual underlying, and tells us where to set the exit. And based on that 80% win rate, we've actually been, because it's been a little bit more volatile right now, we've been doing better than an 80% win rate. We've had 165 profits and 20 losses, and based on a 30 delta, we're averaging about $373 a profit per day just on one contract. And that's just taking every single Cycle Finder Plus daily cross. And so the total profit since February 24th is about 34, almost 35,000 that we're at right now, just on one contract.
Yeah, so in that period of time, February 24th to July 1st, there have been 185 crosses and 89% of them have resulted in a profit. We're going to have losses on any type of trading that we do, but that's a pretty strong indication of what the Cycle Finder Plus is doing for us on a daily basis. So we have many people that follow along with the daily crosses in the live trading room, and we wanted to share that performance with you and just help you understand that it is an opportunity for anybody interested in spending just a few minutes at the beginning of the market day, probably 10 to 15 minutes. Aaron identifies the daily crosses, announces them in the room, and what you would do then is you buy to open a call, buy to open a put, whichever direction we're headed, and then you place a closing order, a good till canceled closing order that is set based on what we anticipate the movement of the underlying stock or index to be. So Aaron mentioned the PSSM, which is the Profit Sweet Spot Matrix. We have historical data back from January of 2019 on each of our watch list of stocks. We know what these stocks and indexes, how much they're going to move based on that history. So it's a very simple way of trading. Once you have your trade in place, once you have your good till canceled order to close in place, then you can go about your day and wait for the next day. We don't take any action during the day other than if the movement were to hit our good till canceled order and close out of the position for a profit. The other thing that we've been talking quite a bit about in the live trading room are calendar spreads. We've been trading calendar spreads quite a bit, and so just I wanted to give you a snapshot of what the last month has been. We've done 4 put calendar spreads on the S&P 500, open and closed, and you can see here where the strikes were on those put calendar spreads. Typically, we're opening SPX put calendar spreads somewhere around 50 to 70 points out of the money, and you know, at $8, $7.40, $3.10, and then the one we closed this week was $15.40 a profit. Calendar spreads are an excellent strategy, in my opinion. It's a lower cost strategy than some other option spread strategies. So that's what we've been doing with calendar spreads. So we periodically profile different types of strategies because we have a wide range of traders in our live trading room: futures traders and options traders, casual traders, and more active traders. And so we profile different strategies that we are actively opening and announcing in the live trading room. So the live trading room is our environment where we're trading throughout the day. Michael Kastner is the primary host of the live trading room with support from Aaron and myself. And next week, for anybody who is interested, we are offering you an opportunity to join us in the live trading room. It's a free week to join us in the live trading room, and you can hear a little bit about you can learn a little bit about what we do in the live trading room and how we help traders generate profits from trading. Now, the reason next week I think is going to be kind of exciting here is because we are going to be talking about the adaptive entry system. So you heard me mention, if you're not familiar with it, the profit flow analytics. That's the entry set of indicators that Craig and his team at New Cycle Trading created. We put our heads together, Options Moneymaker and New Cycle Trading, and we developed the profit flow analytics set of signals. So the AES, Adaptive Entry System, is actually the next generation of technical trading, which is building off of the profit flow analytics. I'm going to give you a quick overview of it tonight, but if you're interested, next week I'm going to be in the live trading room with Michael and Aaron, and we're going to be talking about the Adaptive Entry System. And frankly, those of you who are active traders and are familiar with profit flow analytics, I think you're going to absolutely fall in love with AES. I've been trading it actively. Well, first of all, any system that we roll out to our trading community, we've done a tremendous amount of testing, and then we lead up to a point where now we believe we've worked out any of the variables and the kinks and the things that we might need to go back to the drawing board on and give Craig some feedback and make adjustments. And then we just trade it live as though we're just a trader who is just using the system. So I've been trading it personally live for the last 14 trading days. No variables to the system, and want to share a little bit about that with you this evening. In the just before we jump to questions. So if you're interested in the free week in the live trading room, you can join us by using the link here on the screen, www.optionsmoneymaker.com/LTR free, and that will allow you to register and spend next week, as much of next week as you want to, in the live trading room. We open the live trading room at 8:45 in the morning. We do a pre-market review, and then the regular market session opens at 9:30 Eastern, and we are there and available until most days until 4 p.m. Eastern, when the regular market session closes. All right, so I mentioned the adaptive entry system, and this is what the current profit flow analytics system looks like. Those of you who are trading it with us recognize it clearly. Particularly, you've got the trend bias, slow and medium trend bias, and fast and slow, or fast and medium. And then you also have the trend consensus down here at the bottom. So we spent quite a bit of time talking with Craig about taking the trend bias and the trend consensus and consolidating them into a stronger indication of where the trend is starting. Now, Cycle Finder Plus, which is right here, those of you who are familiar with it recognize that. Cycle Finder Plus gets us into the game early in terms of the beginning of a trend. But there are still occasions where it gets us into the new cycle early, but we might have a little bit of a head fake, especially on a day like today where you've got a very, very strong trending bias to the upside almost the entire day. I mean, there really wasn't a lot of wavering on that. That upward bias trend started actually an hour and 5 minutes before the regular market session started. And there were some indications on the Cycle Finder Plus that you might have a pullback, and there were a couple during the day. But what we've done is we have created, Craig and his team, kudos to them, have created a very, very simple indicator. And you see this arrow here with a T on it and the highlighted green line. And that's basically telling you, it's summarizing all of the algorithms behind the mechanics of this and saying, there's a new trend starting. There's a new trend starting when it's green, it's to the upside. When it's red, it's to the downside. And so if you take a look at these, here was a new trend starting at 10:05 this morning. And I'm looking at the NASDAQ 100 futures contract right here, but this also works on stocks and options, depending on what time period you're looking at. But here is your entry. And when that comes on, when that signal comes on, the entry is saying to go long on a NQ futures contract, and the price was 10,163.75. And it went all the way up to a high of 10,238. So, you got over 70 points of movement, and there's nothing at all in the trend that tells you to take the trade off. And there's a variety of ways we'll be talking about next week to exit. Some people want to grab 10 points of profit. Some people want to grab 30 points of profit. Some might settle for less than 10. That's fine. Whatever your exit method is up to you. But if you held this for the full cycle ends when the white bar opens right here. And then you can see that we jumped into another trend. The white bar took us out of the trade. There was a little hint that we might have a short trend here, but we never got a signal to actually go short. So we're waiting for that indicator, that highlighted indicator. So this is one of three methods that we're going to be talking about in the live trading room next week. This trend bias plus is what it's called, has consolidated the trend consensus with the original two signal basis for the trend bias. And so it's all imprinted right now on the price bars. The second thing we're going to be talking about in the live trading room is what we call momentum trades. So, and you can turn these highlights on and off. But the momentum trades under the surface are basically showing some indication of a potential impulse. And that impulse could actually be in the middle of a trend. It could be in the middle of a rising cycle, rising trend. If you're not holding for the entire cycle, there's an impulse that may offer you an opportunity to take a profit to the downside. So here at 9:05 this morning, we were in a rising trend. This impulse indicator came on and gave us an opportunity to grab a quick 10 points of profit, and then we could re-enter the trend if we chose to after that impulse trade. So these are called momentum trades. There is some momentum underneath the surface that is indicating that for a very short period of time there might be some momentum in that particular direction. And then the third method that we're going to be talking about is using some things that you're already familiar with as you have been trading the Cycle Finder Plus, or previously when you were trading the original traditional Cycle Finder and the Profit Flow Oscillator. So this consensus indicator highlighted here is telling you in a very, very simple signal that the Cycle Finder Plus is now aligned with the AO and the Profit Flow Oscillator. We've got three indications. There are actually two versions of this. There's the Cycle Finder Plus 3, where all three of those are aligned. And then there's what we call the Cycle Finder Plus 4, where they are all aligned, and previous to that alignment, there was a traditional Cycle Finder indication in the same direction. So that's the third indication. Now you can have all of these on your charts. You can trade every signal throughout the day, all three indicators. You could decide to focus on a single indicator. Like today, I was trading only the trending entries. Oops. I was trading the trending entries, which made for very simple and easy trading. Also, you may notice that we're looking at a 5-minute chart. We've done quite a bit of scrubbing on different time frames, and where we have most recently been trading alignment between the 3-minute and 10-minute Cycle Finder Plus. That trade, that methodology is still a valid methodology. If you want to trade the trending system, the adaptive entry system, and maybe just want to focus on getting into the longer running trends and holding those, the 5-minute chart has been proving itself to be the most beneficial chart. 3-minute works, 10-minute works, 30-minute works, but we've really kind of honed in, I've personally honed in on the 5-minute chart. It's an opportunity to trade a single time frame and a single signal and get in and get out for very reasonable profit. So last thing here before we jump to questions, I'm going to give you just a very quick summary. I've been tracking the last 14 days. I've broken down the tracking of these signals into 13 different measurements. So you'll see here that I'm tracking actually from 3 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now everything after 7 p.m. is actually live trading for me. 3 a.m. I go back and do a replay for that 4-hour time frame from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. And so 3 a.m., I don't know of anybody in my circle of friends or family or traders who wants to trade for 13 hours a day from 3 a.m. to 4 p.m. But there's another project that we're working on that Craig is kind of spearheading for us that may, down the road, uh, offer us an opportunity to auto trade some of these signals. So we're tracking 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., 9:30 to 4, 9:30 to noon. All of these are breakdowns that we get asked about frequently. Somebody doesn't want to trade all day, but they want to devote their morning to trading. We've got overnight trading. We get questions about that from um, non-US based traders who are looking to trade the US markets. So we've broken it down, and then I've broken it down between all signals, all 3 signals. Every time one of those 3 signals comes on, locking in 10 points. There's a lot of opportunity left on the table when we do that. Looking at the momentum signals, and then also looking at the trending signals, breaking it down into holding for 30-point profit, holding for the full cycle, 3 a.m., 7 a.m., etc. So personally, what I was trading today was the trend bias plus holding for a 10-point trigger, get in, get out, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. That for the last 14 days is averaging 57 points a day. Now, those of you who trade NQ know how absolutely powerful that is. And I make no promises going forward. I make no promises that the last 14 days will represent what the next 14 days or 14 months will be. But I will just say this, I sincerely applaud Craig and his team for really digging into the feedback that we've provided as a group of traders and trading education specialists, and really built a trading system, the adaptive entry system, that from my perspective offers more profit production than any system that I have ever traded. So you'll see some of these are highlighted in green. That's because they tend to be um, areas that I'm primarily interested in. There's a lot of opportunity here. But 57 points a day average from 7 to 4, locking in 10 points, and an 81% win rate. I like the combination of that. Now, I really like this 123 points, but it only has a 55% win rate. So if I'm willing to stomach my way through 45% of all my trades being losing trades and ultimately end up with a big number, well, that's fine. But that doesn't excite me right now. It might excite another trader. The thing about AES is it has a lot of flexibility for any trader, no matter what style they're trading. And if you're someone who doesn't mind taking every single signal, it can be a little more intense and active to do that all day. But from 9:30 to 4 has a really nice combination of average points per day and the win-loss ratio. So lots of data. I'm going to continue to track the data, continue to tweak and modify as we see things developing. But this is what we're going to be talking about next week in the live trading room. We're going to be tracking these trades on a daily basis, calling out these trades, helping you understand how they perform, how they work, how to recognize them. And I think you're going to be pretty excited. Now, last thing, promise the last thing before we get to questions, I just want to revisit the personal trading plan, which many of you make use of. I know that many of you have downloaded the trading plan and are making use of it. But, just this week, for example, had one losing day on Monday because I didn't take all of the trades. So when I was cherry picking some trades, I ended up net loss. Didn't take all of the trades yesterday or today, but here's where we are. So in the trading plan, we planned for positive winning days, certain point value. We planned for losing days. Actually, the trading plan accounts for one losing day a week. And because I'm starting with a new trading plan here, I'm actually setting my future values at whatever I've averaged right now. And so let me just show you how powerful it is to start with $5,000, use the adaptive entry system, and just earn 28 points. You saw that that's about half of what the opportunity is that's available. 28 points on the positive days, maybe you lose 15, 16 points on the negative days. Here's the bottom line. If you max out at 5 contracts, like you're allowing yourself to trade 10% of your account value in contracts on NQ. If you max yourself out at 5 contracts, that's a pretty strong number in 12 months because you're using the trading plan to help you decide how many contracts to trade, how many points to plan for. If you want to trade every single trade, every single signal throughout the entire day, that number could be significantly greater. But I don't want to, overinflate the opportunity here. I just want you to see that for a simple 28 points a day, if you're trading NQ futures, you can do quite well. Also, the trading plan accounts for options too. You can trade options, and there's a tab in here that you can record your options performance, and it will help you project out what your 12-month performance could be. All right, so I'd like to open the chat for questions, any questions that you might have, and hope each of you decides to take an opportunity to join us next week at no charge to be in the live trading room, and we're going to be talking about the adaptive entry system next week, and we're going to be taking live trades next week and helping you identify where those signals are originating. Well, James is asking, these signals will work on all stocks. Let me just jump over here for a minute and just simply take the same chart, put up SPX, put up a time frame. We'll put up 30 minutes, okay? If you're an options trader, here are your trending signals right here, James. This is just an example. Now, I want to be honest about this, James. I am not trading SPX using these signals. What I have done is I have browsed through a variety of stocks and indexes in our watch list, and I feel very confident that there are reasonably similar opportunities to what I'm seeing on NQ futures. And the reason I feel confident in that is because I understand what the premise of these signals is. What's triggering the signal? What's triggering the indication? So if you look at SPX, for example, I'm on a 30-minute chart. Here's a signal to go long, buy to open a call. Boom, 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 boom. Here's your indication to get out of that trade. You can see that that was a really nice performance. here's an indication to buy a put, boom, 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 then move sideways. Here's your indication to exit the trade. Now, some of them don't work out quite that cleanly. You know, here's a trade telling you to get into the trade, and here's your exit right here. It wasn't a white bar, but it was a red bar that told you that you should take that trade off. So that is in your 20% range or so that we are tracking an 80-20 win-loss ratio. So
that the one you're highlighting is also after hours, if I'm looking right. Is the or maybe I'm on the
well,
wrong.
yeah, well, 30 minutes before the market closed.
Yeah, you're right close to it. That's all.
So to be honest, Craig, I would never take that. I'm not going to take that 30 minutes before the market
probably wouldn't
closes.
jump on a trend with 10 minutes to go in the day.
No, no, but I'm on a 30-minute chart, and you can see here how clean those signals could potentially be for you. So. Take this back to a 5-minute there. Dan is asking, is this only for NQ, and is there a scan for trades? We don't have a automated scan right now, something that may be developing in the future, Dan. But this is a methodology that we intend to be used on most any futures or options trading that you want to trade, and certainly can 3-minute charts, 10-minute charts, 30-minute charts, daily charts. If I took a look, for example, at today on the Russell 2000 futures, you can see here at 8:30 this morning, an hour before the regular market session open, have a signal to go long. You see that's a really nice, strong trade to the upside, and then you're actually out. You give a little bit of that back, but you don't know how far that trend's going to go. You're out on the white bar, you have an opportunity to get back in. You're out on the white bar, you have an opportunity to go short here. Boom, 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 you're out on the white bar. That's RTY. I didn't trade RTY today, but Michael trades RTY extensively, and he was noticing how clean and powerful the pattern was. So I think you can use it on most anything. Bob's asking, will the new analysis be available next week? So what we're going to do next week, Bob, is we're going to be displaying the adaptive entry system in the live trading room. And what we're going to do is we're going to display it in this manner right here, a 3-minute, 5-minute, and 10-minute. I'm taking all of my adaptive entry system trades off the 5-minute. But those of you who have gotten very accustomed to trading the 3-10 alignment on the Cycle Finder Plus, we're not taking that away from you. We're not all of a sudden going to put a cover over that and you can't see what's going on there. So you're still going to be able to identify, we'll help you identify the 3 and 10 alignment on Cycle Finder Plus if that's where you want to trade. But then we're going to be talking about these adaptive entry systems primarily on the 5-minute. So that's what you're going to see in the live trading room next week.
Mark is asking, daily cross covers all types. I'm a beginner and just do buy to open and sell to close and vice versa.
Yeah, so daily crosses are intended to be buying to open a call or buying to open a put. That's it. I mean, if you're a beginner, it's one of the simplest methods of trading. You're looking at a daily chart, and let me just pull one up here. We'll pull up Amazon.
Tesla was a okay.
Oh, Tesla. Go ahead, Aaron.
Tesla was a yeah, and daily.
Was that a complete sentence?
No, but you understood what I meant, so that's really all that counts. Tesla had a Cycle Finder Plus cross to the upside yesterday. Actually, is a trend entry too. So cross to the upside yesterday at market open, and you can see exactly what happened. So what that means is it's an entry to buy to open a call. And then we use our profit sweet spot matrix to identify what the closing price should be. And that hit fairly quickly yesterday because we moved up about 81 points, and Tesla has a much smaller 80% sweet spot than that. But that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the Cycle Finder Plus every morning at 9:30, what it's doing. When it crosses up, as it did yesterday, then that's an entry to go long. So you'd be buying to open a call, and then setting your closing order based on the profit sweet spot matrix, where it tells you to place your closing order based on your option price and the option delta that you chose.
To the person who was asking about if this works on stocks or not too, since you have the Tesla chart up, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Craig also pointed out to me earlier today that Tesla, as of today, surpassed Toyota to become the most valuable automaker in the world based on stock price.
209 billion market cap.
That's just incredible. So, Craig, you know, if you had put the pedal to the metal and gotten these indicators finished up earlier, we could have been long on Tesla.
I would have loved to.
April 8th at 554. And
yeah, I was happy to be long at Tesla yesterday.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think the answer to that question is yes. But as with any system, I mean, we're super excited about this adaptive entry system. But as with any system, if you decide to incorporate it into your own personal trading, it is imperative that you invest some time in doing sim trading, whether you're trading options or whether you're trading futures. And you need to get comfortable and confident with the signals yourself. You are 100% responsible for whatever trading decisions you make. We intend to provide tools that we believe will position you to build your trading business greater than you ever thought possible. That's our objective. But it's imperative that you test your own understanding of what's going on and not just jump in right away. And that's one of the reasons that we are doing the free week in the live trading room next week, to offer you an opportunity to kind of see it in action, in live action. I'm primarily going to be focusing on NQ next week on a 5-minute chart, but there will be time to pull out and take a look at our watch list of stocks, Amazon, Tesla, Google. What else do we have out there? The indexes, Netflix, Shopify, Booking. Yeah, so we'll take a look at those too. We cannot possibly call out every single or identify every single signal on every stock in our watch list. Maybe
I mean, I can at 9:30 for my daily crosses.
You're such a superstar, though. nobody can keep up with you, Aaron. So anyway. Ron, that's an interesting question. Ron's just asking if I've thought about maybe doing an extra Q&A next week during the showing of the new system. I'll take that into consideration. We'll see how Monday and Tuesday go. I think we're going to have plenty of time for people to be able to, even if they're not in the live trading room all day, they'll be able to jump in and ask questions and kind of see what how the performance has been.
I saw someone earlier asked a question about whether this works on a candle chart or anything else. It does. If you change the trading view chart over, it'll just change the bar color to candles or whatever you're using.
Perfect.
James is asking, do the white bars turn that color on the close or earlier?
When they match the pattern.
Sorry.
You can, yeah, sorry, you can get a mid-bar switch. It's when it matches the pattern.
When we take action is based on the open of the bar.
Right.
That's the method that we've been using.
There is generally not a tendency for them to waver back and forth very much.
Chuck is saying, I'm not a full-time trader. That's awesome, Chuck. We have a lot of part-time traders. I have a day job. Is it necessary to attend the chat room I think you're referring to the live trading room to get the trades. Right now, the Cycle Finder Plus trades, the daily crosses, are only identified in the live trading room. We've had some discussions, and we've not yet created an offer for this yet, but we've had some discussions about creating an alert feature that would identify the cross and push an alert out to you, possibly through our smartphone app here at Options Moneymaker. But right now, as of right now, the only access to the daily crosses is attending the live trading room. And it really only requires attendance for the first 15 minutes or so of the day. Just enough for Erin, who is a rock star of identifying signals, she just told me that, to call them out, you get the trade placed and get your closing order set and then be about your day.
I'm going to sum up a few questions here. A lot of people are asking when they will get access to this and what the cost or pricing is for this.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that towards the end of next week. For next week, it's just going to be us showing this in the room, helping you understand a little bit more about what the indicators could do for you. But after that, we'll talk about it more next week, towards the end of next week. James said booking was a good call today too, Erin. You made $1,000 on 2 contracts.
Yeah, I think the entry was yesterday. It didn't quite hit that sweet spot, and then we ended up nicely moving higher this morning on booking. I know there's a few people in the live trading room that took good profits on that entry.
Let's just test you, Erin, and see what it looked like yesterday. Cross to the upside yesterday, was it?
Yes. You can see we had movement, but depending on when you got filled, it might not have been enough for you to get out. And if so, then you were lucky this morning because we ended up opening higher and then immediately moving higher as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here. Brahma is saying, well, good. I'm glad you're excited about this. We are too. I see the adaptive entry system is showing an uptrend. The 5-minute cycle finder is showing up and down. How do we reconcile those two? We're going to talk a lot about that next week. There are always going to be some degree of conflict in trading multiple signals. And so one of the reasons that Craig and his team created the Trend Bias Plus indication is because although we all believe very strongly that Cycle Finder Plus is an excellent, excellent indicator all by itself, there were periods of time, and this is a good example right here. You got an indication to go short right here, you got an indication to go short right here, but you're continuing to move higher. Now, you can see that the trend continued. Eventually, that short indication on the Cycle Finder Plus followed through, all in the context of a rising bias trend. But what we're looking for now is more confirmation of that declining trend. Cycle Finder Plus aligned with the AO and the profit flow oscillator. So we'll talk more about that. And bottom line is you're going to have to make some choices about what you want to trade. If you want to trade every signal on all 3 different methods of entry, there's going to be some that are conflicts. And you'll have to weigh which one you want to prioritize. And you'll learn a little bit more about how to do that next week.
Mark, that's one advantage of being in the live trading room too, because that's that move today. I was beating the table; it was going to continue to go higher, so I took everything else all out of the way. So, and basically, that was telling you to take it told you to go long right out of the gate this morning, and you could have stayed long all day long and you'd have ran them over, even though the white bars came on. I mean, you still got huge profit on the first white bars, you have to ask yourself, okay, am I going to risk, let's say I get in wherever you got in at back.
825.
Yeah, and what the price was, 1096, and where'd the white bar come on at?
No, it was 114.75, and the white bar came on at 161.75.
Yeah, so you ask yourself, okay, if I know where it was at this morning in the wave count, I knew it was going higher. So you hear me say that, then you say, okay, I'm going to risk that. I mean, I ain't going to risk the whole thing, but I'm saying, what I'm trying to say? You can stay
Yeah,
long.
well, if you just simply followed the trend bias plus, you would be out on that white bar, and then you're waiting. And there's a natural assumption that we've had this big move up. We're probably going to get a short entry coming next. It didn't happen. It
Unless you get back
reestablished
in there,
itself.
though.
And you get back in right here, and you hold
Right.
that until the next white bar. And now you're expecting a short bias. The whole day, Michael was saying, but we're still biased to the upside based on his wave analysis. Then you have a third opportunity today to get back in. But you just have to follow the signals.
Right.
Follow the signals, and that's what will guide you through to what we've seen as some pretty strong profit production.
While we're talking about profit production, Pamela is asking what are you using as a stop loss?
Oh, Pamela, that's a great question. So for trading NQ and the experience that I've gained with these 5-minute signals, I'm using a 20-point protected stop. It's rare that it hits it. I think on the trend bias in the last 14 days, it's hit it 5 times out of 14 days. Otherwise, it's either a profit, and I'm trading for 10 points of profit. So I'm either taking 10 points of profit or taking it off at the white bar, the open of a white bar, for a small loss or something less than 10 points of profit, or like I said, 5 times in 14 days, got stopped out for 20 points.
We have a question asking, do you have a mobile app or only a desktop app? So I'm not sure if you're referring to our charts. If you're referring to the charts, these indicators are utilizing TradingView's platform. And TradingView has both a desktop, which is a web browser based app. It's not, you just access all of their charts through any web browser, PC, Mac, doesn't matter. They also have a mobile app as well, where you can access your charts on your phone or your tablet and view our indicators on there. If you're referring to what Mark mentioned earlier about alerts, then those are the Options Moneymaker alert app that we have, which is available for, it's a mobile app, so it's available for iPhone and Androids.
JT's asking if you identified a stock or index that is more successful at achieving or hitting those sweet spots. Well, the PSSM, the Profit Sweet Spot Matrix, I don't have it here to share with you right now, but you can study that, and it actually will show you what the stronger performers are. So Profit Sweet Spot Matrix tracks everything back from January of 2019 forward, and you can see, if you were to pick one stock, one index to trade, you can see how consistent that is versus the other stocks or indexes. The reason we have the watch list that we do is because we've found them all to be productive, some more so than others. There are other stocks that we've researched, and you might think of them as being, logical names to include in our watch list, but overall, their profit production is just not anywhere close to where we would want it to be over the course of the last year and a half. So we've zeroed in on the stocks and indexes that I shared with you earlier.
And what you can do when you look at your PSSM is you can actually look at the actual win percent. So you have your desired win rate, which we have set at 80%, and then you can see what the actual win rate is, which will be a higher number than 80%. And you could go through and choose the highest if you want to based on that, but they're all going to have a win rate of above 80%. Now, in order to have that personal run rate yourself, you essentially need to be taking every cross. So you don't want to go long on Amazon, and then the next time Amazon has a short, you decide to take a trade on a different stock or index, you won't have that same win rate. You might have a better one, or you might have one that is less than 80%. So if you really want to see that 80% win rate, it's highly encouraged that you are trading, you're picking one stock and taking every single trade on that, because the wins and the losses even themselves out to that 80% win rate. Michael's asking, and I'm sure you do know the answer, once we get the indicators, will we be able to set alerts on them? And you will be able to set alerts.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's, well, I'll come back to that, but there's a question in here about how come you missed on Tesla starting upward move on the chart?
I think that was based on the joke you were saying to Craig earlier, that he should have gotten the indicator. So we didn't actually miss that entry at all. What is that? That's back on April
7th.
So that is,
The actual indicator is 8th. Yeah.
Tesla had an April 7th cross on Cycle Finder Plus. So if you're following my daily cross announcements that I do at 9:30 every day, you are absolutely in on the 7th to go long at Tesla.
Actually,
on April 7th.
in a day ahead of when the trend bias indicator
Came
appeared.
on.
Yep.
So no, we didn't actually miss that in the live trading room, but Mark was joking earlier with Craig because we were not trading the daily chart on Tesla with these indicators back in April.
That's because Craig was dragging his feet.
There were a few things going on.
I don't feel like anything really happened in April.
No.
It's been a quiet year.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this tool. Join for next week, free trial, but may not be there for 7 hours. What's your recommendation? First 15 minutes, noon, before end of day? So part of that depends on what you see as your goal. I would always suggest that you're there for the first 15 minutes where we open at 8:45 in pre-market. And we're going to be talking about the potential for daily crosses. Aaron does a great job with that. And we'll also be looking at some of the overnight signals from 3 a.m. To current, and anticipating whether or not there are any signals setting up even before regular market session opens. So I would just say, as you can fit it into your schedule, pop in. I think you'll have an opportunity to learn something no matter what time of day that you're there. Michael, we won't actually be releasing the adaptive entry system until after next week. We'll talk more in the live trading room and certainly send out an email and let you know how you can get access to it. But for next week, we're mostly just profiling it and helping you understand a little bit about what we've seen. I personally was very excited when I started trading it after doing a lot of active trading on it, just kind of testing and validating the signals, working back and forth with Craig on making some fine-tuning adjustments, and then just put heads down and said, I'm going to trade these signals for 14 days. And I've tracked every single signal that presented itself, whether I traded it live or not. I've tracked it in real time from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's the last 2 weeks that really kind of got me excited about this is something that you guys as active traders need to hear about. Whether you choose to use it or not is entirely up to you, but we're going to spend some time next week talking about it and tracking along these signals in real time. The live trading room free access starts on Monday. In fact, let me just put this up here. Those of you who may still want to sign up and didn't get the link, it's www.optionsmoneymaker.com/LTR free. And that's for the period from Monday, July 6th to Friday, July 10th, 8:45 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. Hector, I shared what our watch list of stocks is. Let me just tell you, there are a lot of stocks out there that different people trade, different people have in their own watch list. But our watch list of stocks, again, are Amazon, Booking, Google, Netflix, Shopify, Tesla, and then SPX and NDX. And then we trade quite a bit on the Russell 2000 also. So what I would say, Hector, is you could take a look. If you, first of all, if you decide to use the adaptive entry system, you could research any stock that you like, any index that you like, any ETF that you like, and see how the signals perform for you. But like I said before, it's very important that you do some of your own testing when you have a new signal set before just jumping into it. And next week, depending on how much time we have, we should have some time. If you have an individual stock or something you'd like us just to pull the chart up on quickly, we could take a look at a daily chart, a 30-minute chart, and just kind of get a real quick overview of how the trends are being identified. John asked earlier, what is the best process for making continuing money, selling options, credit spreads, etc.? So that's a bigger question, John, than just a simple answer, because a lot of it depends on how much time you have to trade, what your risk tolerance is, how much capital commitment you want to make to each trade, and what your experience level is. So very simply, without knowing the answers to all of those, I'm going to just tell you, if you're fairly new to trading options or you're looking for some level of consistency, I think credit spreads offer a very good opportunity to potentially generate some recurring income. Now, you can use monthly expirations on stocks. You could use weekly expirations on indexes like the S&P 500. But the thing, without getting too much into it here, the thing I like about credit spreads, John, is there's what we call a natural forgiveness factor. So if you look at a chart and there's an indication that that particular index, SPX, S&P 500, is set to move lower, and you open a call credit spread to take advantage of that, but instead the index moves higher first, there is a forgiveness factor that when that credit spread is constructed properly, which we teach how to do that, when it's constructed properly, you're building some cushion for the price of the underlying index or stock to move against you, but still have a profitable position. So if, depending on your experience level, what your goal is, credit spreads could be a good opportunity for you. You just do them every week, every other week, or every month, depending on what index or stock you're trading them on. So Michael, what you're referring to is training. Training is not going to be done in the live trading room. Next week, we're providing an overview of the adaptive entry system, and then we will let you know when training will be conducted. So that's when, next week it's going to be kind of a high level, hey, here's a signal, here's why that's a great signal, we're going to kind of follow it along to give you a flavor for how this system works. But once we release it, and for those folks who decide they want to adopt it into their tool set, there will be some specific training that will be provided with that. James, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what your question is about. How's Mark doing on his goal? I'm not sure what that is referring to. That's all right, Michael. Thank you for asking. Appreciate your interest. All right, folks, I don't see any other questions out there. I'm going to give it just a minute here, see if you have any follow-up questions. I'll just say again, I think that it is a great opportunity to just join us in the live trading room next week. There's no charge for you to participate. You can come and go as you please. You can ask questions, but just to get an idea of how the adaptive entry system works. And the reason I feel so strongly about that is because if you're a serious trader, whether you're a casual trader or an active trader, it's so important that you have a good, strong set of tools. What we have with the profit flow analytics tools today is outstanding. The adaptive entry system, is the next generation of outstanding. We continue to build stronger signals. We've combined some signals into a very strong, very powerful signal that I think you're going to enjoy. And we're offering you an opportunity to trade the way you want to trade. Some of you may take fewer trades and stay in the trade longer, but now you've got a good, clean, very, very simple signal to monitor. And we're starting to develop some history that will help us understand, if trader A, doesn't mind a 55% win rate and wants a bigger point production, well, we can help you with that. If trader B doesn't really want to stomach, losing half the time and wants a stronger win rate, we can show you what that could potentially result in. Everything that I've tracked so far is based on futures, but it's easily transferable to options trading using different time frames. So we're just kind of in the beginning stages of really tracking that information, which is why I think it'd be kind of cool to help you guys all see it next week in live action. Yeah, Jack, next week, I know you came in a little late, but next week we're going to be talking about the adaptive entry system in the live trading room. And towards the end of the week, we'll let you know how you can access it yourself. But we won't be putting it out there for access until after next week.
Yeah, Michael, I read your comment. I'll be sure that you can't see it tomorrow or next week. Okay, you're out, Michael. Yeah.
All right. Let me just see if there's any last questions here. TJ is asking to look at anything other than profit analytics. That's the only charting system that we use. We're not using any other charting system right now. Profit flow analytics is the core system that we use, and that's what we base all of our decisions on. Latoya is asking a great question. Is this system for the experienced and advanced trader? Can a beginner such as myself quickly adapt to the system? I'll answer it this way, Latoya. Thanks to Craig and his team, we've built what I believe is a very, very simple methodology. So if you can understand that green means we're going higher, blue means we're going higher, red means we're going lower, and understand that, I think that you could probably adapt to using this very quickly. I think the more important part there, Latoya, is what type of trading do you want to do? Do you want to be a futures trader, and that requires a little bit of training? do you want to be an options trader? And that also requires a little bit of training. But in terms of this system, I think it's going to be very, very simple for most any level of experience to use, because we've made it very simple just in terms of highlighting the entries, color coding the trending, and you're going to see that there's very clear alignment now between Cycle Finder Plus and 2 to 3 other indicators. So I think that you would do very well, Latoya, but I don't know what your level of trading experience is, options, futures, but for the adaptive entry system specifically, I think it's very user-friendly.
I will say that the goal with all of our indicators has simply been to make things as simple and easy to follow as possible, because there's so many things you can look at. The whole genesis of this was making things simple. So if you can read a label, if you can see the color, you can follow the signal. Now, how you trade it, that's where being in the live trading room, I think, is of huge value, because everyone's at a different skill level. And I think having the opportunity to see how people are trading it, that really helps you figure out how you would do.
Thank you, Craig.
I thought he was gonna say if Michael can do it, and from the southern
Well,
south, southern South Georgia, then not anybody can do it. So thanks, Craig, for not bringing that up.
I just figured we could hit you with some more questions during the day.
There you go.
I'm so glad you take that in, Craig, because I was about to say that myself.
It's been a while since I've been in the room, Michael. I haven't been able to comment and make snarky remarks.
All right, so the last question for this evening goes to Michael, not our Michael. Michael said, did you look at how this performed in a period of low volatility? So one of the reasons for developing the adaptive entry system, and the reason it's called adaptive entry, is because it is designed to be adaptive to most any environment. You've got 3 different types of signals. You can modify, your profit target. You can modify your stop when you're trading futures, but it is designed to be a productive system, regardless of the type of market that we're in, type of volatility that we're in.
That's also a particular reason it's been good that we've been looking at it at all hours of the day as well, because as we all know, there's a lot of volatility in the first hour or two after open, but in the middle of the night, you find some of the best trades are there, and that's traditionally a time of much lower volatility.
Well, and I mentioned this briefly, and we're having some discussions about the signals being so precise. Could we create an auto trading environment for those people who don't have time or don't want to sit in front of the computer and trade? So we're not close to that yet, folks, but it's just something down the road that we're having some discussions about. Jack is asking, I guess the question was for you, Craig. Any updates on your goal? I know what you're doing with it, but you might want to update.
Yeah, well, so Michael, I've been admittedly a little quiet for a while here. We had an amazing start to the year. I think month 1 was 35% or very close. But to be totally honest, the last few months I got so bogged down with just trying to solve problems we were having. We have a few other partners we work with, and I've been trying to solve some problems for them, but also to work the signals in the market as it's been changing so much. So I have admittedly been doing less of my own personal trading, but looking to pick that up. That's exactly why a system like this was kind of invented. Was I needed a better intraday system. If you've been following my commentary, I can't trade all day either, so I've been looking for something I can use at any time of the day. And so I've been relatively flat for a couple months, but am still up and still expect to have strong profits for the year.
So Craig, if you traded 28 points a day.
Oh, yeah, without fail. This is you and I have personally talked about these numbers too, where I coined the phrase, talking with Mark about this, of using offensively good profits. It's the numbers we were putting in there were a little too good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to play them down a little bit. But if you average 30 points a day, okay, And what we're seeing is several different categories of trading these signals on the adaptive entry system that are well above 30, right? So I'm not saying you're going to do 30 a day, but I'm just saying if you did 30 a day and you were willing to trade a maximum of, say, 12 contracts, which is only 10% of your account when you get there, there's your $1 million. And this isn't for you, Craig. I know you know what you're doing, but it's just to show folks that there's an opportunity when you combine the adaptive entry system. So Craig kind of took a pause from working towards his goal because he saw an opportunity to really reinforce the signals that we were already using. But now use a combination of the adaptive entry system, the personal trading plan, and just trade to whatever number you want to hit. So that's what I think is kind of exciting. Folks, we're going to close out the session. I appreciate all of you being here. I hope to see all of you in the live trading room next week. We think it's going to be pretty exciting. And you can join us at www.optionsmoneymaker.com/LTR free. Have a great rest of your day, folks, and we'll look forward to trading with those of you in the live trading room tomorrow.